Hi everyone, I'm Yvette Garzone with J. Manning and Associates, and I'm here with my partner Steve Kane, who heads up our business development efforts. Hi Steve, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, everybody. Thank you.
Steve, today most of our employee benefits and voluntary benefit consultants are aware of all of the state level conversations that are surrounding public programs, but they may not be just as intimately involved in the details as we are. Is there anything happening at a federal level that they should be aware of?
Well, that for the longest time, the answer was no. 10 plus years ago, we saw the Class Act, which was the first of its kind federal program, but that went by the wayside. It was the first thing out of ACA to be repealed, and then it went dark for a long time. But about, I would say, 6 to 9 months ago, we saw a proposal from a Republican congressman about an above-the-line deduction for private long-term care insurance. That didn't go anywhere. As of late, we've seen caregiver tax credits that are out there, and I think those might pass. It's got broad bipartisan support because there's such a caregiver shortage and such a big issue. And then recently, over the last couple weeks, a Democratic congressman from New York, Tom Suozzi, proposed the WISH Act. It was a bipartisan bill. There was a Republican co-sponsor from Michigan, and he proposed a catastrophic long-term care public program. So the answer is yes. We finally saw some federal activity as of late with the WISH Act.
Well, Steve, I know that you're always traveling. I'm keeping up with you on LinkedIn. I saw that you recently went to DC and that you're meeting with legislators. I know you're not putting in a bid for office, but can you tell everyone what's going on?
Part of my role here at J. Manning is to keep my thumb on the pulse of what's going on the state and federal side when it comes to legislative activity. So over the past few years, I've taken leadership positions in legislative working groups and industry trade associations so that we could have a seat at the table instead of being on the menu. And so that's why, we're doing this type of conversation to let everybody know what's going on. And so I was able to help plan a conference with Congressman Suozzi and about 150 people that came to DC on Monday the 7th to talk about financing long-term care, the issue of long-term care in America and what it is today and what it's going to be, and then also specifically the WISH Act, what it is and how it works and why Congressman Suozzi needs people's support behind this.
Look, I know it's early. You and I both know that legislation, as it starts, isn't how it ends, and everything can change. But what is the WISH Act? What is the initial proposal looking like?
Yeah, one of my old mentors used to tell me that the only thing constant in life is change. And that certainly holds true with legislation. There's a reconciliation process. There's, kind of molding the bill and changing along the way. But right now, as it stands today, it's a catastrophic long-term care program, meaning a back-end long-term care public program. So everybody's in, right? In this program. And once you meet the long-term care benefit triggers, which is the same as private insurance, 2 out of 6 activities of daily living or a severe cognitive impairment, and then you qualify for benefits. But the difference here is that there's a waiting period based on your income. So people that have lower earnings will receive benefits right away. And people that have much higher earnings might have a 3, 4, or 5 year waiting period or deductible period, and then this back end program would kick in. So what do people get? As it stands today, $4,000 a month forever, right? This is a back end catastrophic program. So as long as you need the long-term care, you're going to receive that $4,000 a month. Now, we're not sure what this number is ultimately going to be or how this program is going to look, but it's significantly higher than what we saw in the Washington Cares Fund in a state program that's out there.
Yeah, and speaking of Washington Cares Act, how does this differ from that?
Yeah, I keep it simple, front end, back end, right? Washington Cares is a front end program that provides $36,500 of benefit. It's a compulsory program, so there's a tax that's levied upon Washington workers, and that's funding a CARES fund. Once you qualify for benefits, you get $36,500 on the front end. That's it. If somebody has Alzheimer's or dementia or had an extended long-term care event, you're just getting $36,500. With the WISH Act, you've got this $4,000 a month as long as you need this care, whether it's at home, assisted living, or skilled nursing. So front end, back end type of solutions.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But what is in it for you and I, right? Distributors of insurance. What's in it for us?
Yeah, I don't know yet. That's such a good question because, JMA hasn't really, nor have insurance companies or the insurance industry have put forth a full-throated recommendation for this legislation. I think that's what Congressman Swazi was trying to do, is coalesce support from different industry groups and the insurance industry, whether it's carriers or distributors like us. I was just happy that we're having this conversation, that it's a passion project of his. Look, the world's on fire, and he's spending an inordinate amount of time talking about long-term care, which will impact the country in the next 20, 30 years. So that was incredible. But what's in it for us? Clearly, there's an opportunity to distribute insurance solutions on the front end. So take that higher income person. Let's say somebody earns $100,000 a year or more. There's going to be a 3, 4, 5-year waiting period before the WISH Act kicks in. So private insurance could come in and help protect retirement income, help protect families, and provide that first end coverage, whereas the WISH end will cover the back end.
Yeah, that's great. I've actually been talking to a lot of clients though, and a lot of brokers, and everyone's kind of like waiting and seeing, right? They're not sure if they should need to take action right now. Do you feel like that's the best strategy right now?
Well, no, and I'm not saying this in a self-serving way. I'm saying it as a realist. Like, I don't know if this is the right time for this legislation, given what's going on, today and the gridlock that we're seeing on a federal level. So I'm not confident that this thing is going to move forward anytime soon. I'm glad we're having these conversations, but it's a process, and so waiting to see what happens and not planning for long-term care is not the answer. And as I wait as a consumer, my prices go up based on my age, right? And so you have that. Also, we saw in the state of Washington, there was an opportunity to exclude yourself, from the program if you own private insurance. And so people were able to exempt themselves if they can prove that they own coverage. I'm not sure if that's going to happen on the WISH Act side. It's TBD. But the bottom line is those who were thinking further ahead, employers and employees, were able to save themselves significant tax money over their lifetimes.
Yeah. Well, Steve, I think that's it for our time. I wanted to thank you for your time today.
My pleasure.
And folks, if you're out there and you want to take a deeper dive with us, we are more than happy to talk through what's happening at the state and federal level. So you can schedule 30 minutes with us at the email below, and we'll be happy to have a chat with you. Thank you again, Steve. I really appreciate it.